Finishing up our last cook here at lunch here at Frymaster, and after we do that, it'll be time for us to filter the fryers. Now the fryer is smart enough to keep track of how many cooks we've done, and the fryer will tell you when it's time to do a filter event. So in this case, after this cook, it's time to do a filter. The cook's done, we acknowledge that, we get our pies out, and now it's time to do a filter. Now notice the fryer hasn't asked us for a filter yet. That's because the fryer is waiting to make sure that we're not busy. If we were in the middle of a rush and I was immediately dropping some more food, it's giving me enough time that I can drop that food. But if I don't drop any food and that food sits here, if that fryer sits here inactive for a certain period of time, then it's going to say, okay, you're not busy right now, I need to be filtered, and the fryer will prompt us. It'll say, quick filter now. Okay, so now here we are waiting for it to prompt. You notice this hand right here, this is our filter hand. That's where you would do if you wanted to manually start a filter event. That hand is white right now because we're up to date on our filters. We filter it every time it's asked us to, and so that's white. If we skip a filter later, that hand turns yellow. If we skip 2 filters, that hand turns red. The reason that's important is if I've got 6 fryers in a restaurant and I'm busy and I skip a filter, it'll be hard to remember once things slow down which of the 6 fryers needed me to filter them. But if I've got one that has a yellow hand and the other 5 are white, then after I slow down, it's easy to spot the one that needs to be filtered. The other reason for the color code and the change of the color of hands is to let the manager know whether or not the fryers are being filtered the way they're supposed to be filtered, right? So if I'm a manager and I walk in and I look and I've got 6 red hands going down the fryer, I know the fryers keep asking them to filter and they keep skipping those filters, and I know I have to correct that behavior. It's really important when we ask you to filter. The reason for that is the sediment that comes off the chicken, if you get too much of it in the bottom of the fry pot, it's not going to all come out during the automatic filtration event, and you're going to be back to having to get the stick out and the hose out and work really hard to get the filter clean. If you filter when we ask you to, you don't have to do anything. The fryer will do all the work for you. So here we go. The fryer is now prompting us, filter now, yes or no. Again, we always want you to say yes if at all possible. If for some reason I did have to skip the filter, I'm going to press no, and you watch this hand, it's going to turn to yellow. So now my filter hand's yellow, which is an indicator that I do need to do a filtration. And if I come back in here and press that yellow hand, it'll again tell me it's time to filter again. So you need to do that quick filter. Now, the other nice thing about these fryers are we really want to make sure we take advantage of the slower periods in the afternoon to get all of your fryers caught up on filtration. So if I have skipped a filter here, the fryer's not waiting for me to cook more food. I've already cooked enough food that I need to do a filter here. As long as that hand's yellow, the fryer knows it needs to be filtered. And if we go for a certain amount of time without filtering again or without cooking again, it knows I'm not busy. It's going to ask me again, filter now. So during those slow periods, it'll ask more frequently just to make sure we get caught up on filtrations and we got clean fry pots. The other advantage to doing the filters when we ask you to do them, it's going to help your oil last longer. The longer you leave oil sitting in the fry pot, sitting there cooking, the more it's going to burn up and it's going to cook and make your oil go bad faster. If you're filtering frequently throughout the day, like this fryer allows you to do, unlike your previous versions, now you're going to be able to get longer oil life because you're keeping more of that sediment out. And oil is really the most expensive part about frying. So it's really about helping you manage the oil so you can save money on oil.